What if I told you the laziest kid in town became the smartest champion in the kingdom? Yep, you heard me right. The boy everyone laughed at, the boy who hated hard work more than anything in the world, ended up winning the royal gold. But here's the twist. He didn't win because he was strong. He didn't win because he ran fast. He won because he learned how to think and finally found a reason to move. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we are going to tell the epic story of Ethan. Throughout this tale, we will pause to look at advanced vocabulary, phrases, and grammar that native speakers use. By the end of this video, you won't just be inspired, you will be smarter. So, grab your notebook, get comfortable, and let's travel to the Kingdom of Eldoria. Ethan was famous in his village, but not for a good reason. While other boys were out running, chopping wood, or wrestling, Ethan was usually found asleep. But Ethan wasn't just lazy. He was cleverly lazy. For example, he hated feeding the chickens every morning. It required walking to the coop, opening the bag, and scattering the seeds. Too much effort. So, Ethan tied a rope to the door handle of his bedroom and connected it to a bucket in the barn. When I woke up, he just pulled the rope, the bucket tipped over, and the chickens were fed. He didn't even get out of bed. His father, a hard-working farmer named Thomas, would shake his head. Ethan, he would say, hard work is the only way to survive. You cannot trick your way through life. Ethan would yawn. Why run when you can walk? Why walk when you can sit? I'm not lazy, Dad. I'm just efficient. One summer, everything changed. A terrible drought struck the land. The rain stopped falling. The river turned into a muddy puddle. The sun became a scorching enemy. To make matters worse, Ethan's dad, Thomas, collapsed in the field. It was sick with the heat fever. The doctor was grim. He needs rest and expensive medicine. If he works, he will not recover. Now, the weight of the world fell on Ethan's shoulders. He had to manage the farm. At first, he thought, no big deal. But farming during a drought wasn't just pulling ropes. It meant carrying heavy water buckets from the distant well. It meant fixing tools that snapped in the dry heat. It meant working under the sun for 12 hours a day. After 2 weeks, the crops started withering. The corn turned brown. The wheat bent over and died. Ethan was exhausted. His hands were blistered. He sat by his sleeping father, feeling hopeless. I can't do this, Ethan whispered. I'm not strong enough. The next morning, a sound echoed through the village. Da-da-da, da-a. A royal messenger dressed in purple and gold stood in the town square. Hear the... The messenger shouted. The king seeks a new champion. The royal guardian has retired. We need someone strong, smart, and brave to protect the borders. The crowd buzzed with excitement. What is the prize? Someone shouted. The winner, the messenger announced, will receive a chest of gold coins and a lifetime supply of water for their village. Ethan's ears perked up. Gold. Water. That was exactly what his farm needed to survive. It was the only way to save his dad. Without thinking twice, Ethan stepped out from the back of the crowd. He raised his skinny hand. I will compete. The silence lasted for 1 second. Then, the laughter began. You? Shouted the baker. Ethan the sleeper, laughed the blacksmith. You can't even carry a sack of potatoes, mocked the village athlete, a giant man named Brutus. Brutus flexed his muscles. Go back to bed, little boy. This is for men. Ethan's face turned red. He wanted to run away, but then he remembered his father's pale face. He remembered the withering corn. I might not be strong, Ethan said, his voice shaking but clear. But I am going. Ethan arrived at the palace. The competition was fierce. There were 50 men and women. All of them looked like statues carved from stone. The king stood on a balcony. Welcome. Your first challenge is simple. The Lake of Shadows. He pointed to a massive lake. It was wide, and the water was choppy. You must reach the other side. But be warned, The current is strong. Only the first 20 will pass. 3, 2, 1. Go. Splash. 49 competitors dived into the water. They swam with power. Stroke, stroke, breath. They fought the water aggressively. Ethan stood on the shore. He dipped his toe in, cold, and he wasn't a strong swimmer. If he swam, he would get tired halfway and drown. Think, Ethan. Think, he muttered. What would a lazy person do? He looked around. He saw the tall reeds and bamboo growing near the water. He saw some vines. While the others were fighting the current, Ethan pulled out his pocket knife. Chop, chop, chop. He cut down 10 thick stalks of bamboo. He used the vines to tie them together. It took him 5 minutes. The crowd booed. He's wasting time, but Ethan wasn't wasting time. He was building a raft. He threw the raft into the water and sat on top of it. Using a flat piece of wood as a paddle, he began to row. The swimmers were strong, but the water was stronger. By the middle of the lake, they were exhausted. They were swallowing water. Ethan, he was dry. He paddled smoothly. Glide, glide, glide. He passed Brutus, the strong man from his village, who was gasping for air. Need a ride? Ethan joked to himself. Ethan reached the shore without even breathing hard. He was one of the first 22 finish. The second challenge was even harder. The 20 survivors stood before a massive wooden wall, into a smooth vertical. There were no handholds, no ropes. Climb it, the king commanded. The first 5 to the top moved to the finals. The strong men jumped. They tried to dig their fingers into the wood. They tried to run up the wall. Most slid back down, getting splinters and bruises. Brutus, using his immense strength, let another man stand on his shoulders and then tried to pull himself up. It was clumsy and difficult. Ethan looked at the wall. Too high to jump. Too smooth to climb. He looked around the yard. He saw a pile of large, heavy rocks nearby. He also saw a long, sturdy plank of wood lying by the construction site. Leverage, Ethan whispered. He placed a medium-sized rock on the ground, about 5 feet from the wall. He put the long plank over the rock, creating a seesaw or a lever. Then, he looked at the heaviest competitor. "Hey!" Ethan shouted. "I bet you can jump on this end of the wood." The competitor, angry and not very smart, stomped over. "I can crush this wood." The big man jumped with all his weight onto the raised end of the plank. Boom! Ethan was standing on the other end. The force launched Ethan into the air. He flew up, grabbed the top of the wall, and pulled himself over. He didn't use his muscles. He used physics. Only 3 competitors remained. Brutus, a swift female warrior named Kale, and Ethan. They stood on a dusty road. In front of each of them was a giant, solid block of stone. It was a perfect square. It weighed a ton. The king spoke. "Push your stone block to the finish line. 1 kilometer away, the first one there wins the gold." Brutus growled. He dug his feet into the ground and pushed his block. Scrop. It moved 2 inches. Kale used a crowbar she found to pry it forward. Clunk. Clunk. Ethan pushed his block. It didn't move. It was impossible, even for a strong man. This would take all day. For Ethan, he would die of exhaustion before he reached the finish line. "I can't win with muscle," Ethan whispered. He looked at the tools provided. Hammers, chisels, saws. The crowd laughed. "Look, he's giving up." Ethan picked up a chisel and a hammer. He didn't push the block. He climbed on top of it. Clang, clang, clang. He started chipping away the corners of the stone.
What is he doing?
The king asked, leaning forward. Ethan worked furiously. He wasn't trying to move the block yet. He was changing its shape. He chipped off the sharp corners. He smoothed the edges. The square became an octagon. The octagon became a sphere. It took him an hour. Brutus and Kale were already 100 meters down the road, sweating and groaning in pain. Ethan wiped the sweat from his eyes. His hands were bleeding, but his block was now a rough bally. Hump it done, he gave the ball a gentle push. Rumble. Rumble. It rolled. Ethan started running behind it, pushing it lightly to keep the speed up. The heavy stone ball gathered momentum. Rumble, rumble, rumble. He passed Kale. She stared in shock. He passed Brutus. Brutus's eyes popped out of his head. That's cheating! Brutus, it's not cheating, Ethan shouted back as he rolled past. It's geometry. Ethan crossed the finish line while the others were barely halfway there. The king laughed and clapped his hands. We have our champion. Not the strongest, but the smartest. Ethan returned home with the gold. He bought medicine for his father, who recovered fully. He built a new irrigation system for the farm so he didn't have to carry buckets, of course. Was Ethan lazy? Maybe. But he learned a valuable lesson. Laziness is only bad if you do nothing. But if you use your desire to avoid work to invent better ways to do things, that is called innovation. Ethan found his WHY. He wanted to save his dad. When your reason is strong enough, you will find a way whether you use your muscles or your mind. Before you go, let's recap the 3 big ideas from today. 1. Efficiency, working smarter, not harder. 2. Perseverance, continuing even when things are tough, like Ethan carving the stone. 3. Strategy, having a plan before you act. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell. See you in the next lesson.